One of the things kind of in that vein that I've thought about before is how the markets naturally go through a cycle of consolidation and then being broken apart, consolidation and being broken apart. And I think we've been in a period of consolidation, but we're heading towards a period of kind of tearing down those walls. And I think it's going to be different than before because, like you said, you can have one person working with a fractional team leveraging AI to build a really incredible business. And that can be a much smaller overall cost. So they're going to need less venture capital dollars. It's going to be a smaller team. They need fewer people. And they can build way faster, like you said. So they're going to be able to have more impact with fewer resources. And so what I think happens is it doesn't mean that we're going to need less resources, right? We're not going to have less investment, but I think the check sizes are going to be smaller. And we're going to have a proliferation of startups that are maybe these 1 or 2 person teams, but they're not lifestyle businesses. They're full on, properly built companies that are focused maybe on a niche of 10 million people rather than 100 million people. And so I think these big corporations are going to they have the early mover advantage of resources. But I think from a defensibility perspective, they can't be everything to everyone. Whereas if we have 100 startups, then they can actually be 100 different ideas for 100 different people. So I think we're going in a very interesting direction to drive that change that we're going to see in the makeup of the startup world.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. And I think all of these things are effectively like ripping up the rule book, from us just talking about fractional and how it's going to land through to, we have been in a cycle of consolidation. But then let's not look at the fact that lots of people are going through huge changes, digital transformations. They need to develop and change the business and move forwards. And as you say, we're talking about the big corporations. They've really got to adapt. We're talking like huge oil tankers that are going to take a while to turn around, and they've got to do something swiftly. So, and it works perfectly then. You rightly said there will be smaller check sizes. So which is great considering we've had a difficult time in the investment world for the last 2 years, right? People have become a lot more risk averse, having been throwing money pre-COVID and afterwards. I mean, it was silly money. Then it fell off a cliff. We need a modicum of balance where people aren't fearful of putting capital in. But yeah, if you go now to a VC or you go through an accelerator and your business model includes all of these things and you're super lean, super efficient, really smart, bringing in high impactful, uber talented people that are going to help you build your product and your tech stack or your revenue side. You've got some outsourced functions and you're going to make more from the dollar they give you. Absolutely. All day long. That is going to appeal to investors. And then more people do that. We get the market moving again, which is always good for everybody. But I think it's going to see a change, but I think a good one. It's not like, do you remember sort of 15 years ago when suddenly outsourcing hit and everyone, right, we're going to send everything over to India and the Philippines. Did that for 5-10 years. A lot of people didn't like that, and then they re-insourced. Then it was kind of, do we do a nearshore, slightly offshore, proper offshore? What's the mix? And I think there's a really good blend now between all these different scenarios that people have pulled together. This is just another version of that, but I don't think it will be a crash. And I don't think people should be hugely scared. They should embrace AI. What are people going to be scared when the telephone came along or scared when the TV came along? It's like, no, embrace it, use it. If you've got a faster, better, efficient car, you're going to buy it, right? We don't panic about, Apple and Samsung bringing out a new phone every year. Take the next thing, absorb it, get better. But that's the thing. I think it should be jump on, enjoy, learn, but move yourself forwards.